You are welcome to Travel and Work channel again. A one-stop channel for information, news, updates about traveling, working, studying and living abroad. Please subscribe for consistent updates. Now let's get into the news of today. The information is about the current situation of asylum seekers in the UK and its effect especially in the areas of spendings. The UK is spending 40% of person more than any other European country on housing asylum seekers. The costs has been taking up nearly a third of the official aid budget, which forced a 16.4% cut in the amount of aid spent overseas in 2022. The findings come in a report by the Aid Campaign, which argues the proportion of the aid budget being spent on housing refugees in the UK is totally out of sync with its neighbours and is making the British aid budget both unpredictable and unmanageable. The Development Minister, Andrew Mitchell, has publicly complained about the effect of the Home Office raid on the aid budget in the past. The report suggests, no structural reform has so far been implemented to bring costs under control. International aid rules allow countries to use the overseas aid budget to cover the first-year costs of refugees including food and accommodation. But each country has flexibility in deciding what costs to load onto the aid budget. The report finds that in 2022, the UK spent £3.7 billion of its aid budget on refugees in the UK, an increase on the £1.1 billion spent in 2021. This rise is not solely because of an increase in the number of Ukrainian refugees, but also the result of a 400% increase in asylum applicants since December 2017 and a growing backlog of asylum claims. More than half of asylum applicants in the UK are from countries other than Ukraine, such as Syria and Afghanistan. This suggests the damage to the aid budget is likely to be long-term without structural reform to the Home Office handling of asylum claims. The report says if asylum seekers spent 60 days or fewer in hotels, the costs could be cut by £1 billion. In December 2022, 1,237 Home Office caseworkers made an average of just 4 asylum decisions a month, partly because of a lack of experienced staff. Furthermore, in 2021, the UK had 14.9 cases in the asylum backlog for every 10,000 of the population. This is more than France, that had 7.3 cases for every 10,000 people, despite the UK receiving far fewer asylum applications for every 10,000 people, 8.4 compared to France's 17.9. The report suggests the financial burden could be reduced by more than £1 billion if more asylum applicants were allowed, as is the case with Ukrainian refugees, to be sponsored by private citizens rather than in hotels that on average cost £120 a night. It also says the backlog could be reduced by making clear that applicants from war-torn countries such as Syria are more likely to have their claim accepted, allowing them to work and therefore reducing the burden on the taxpayer. It also suggests that the UK could reference the overseas aid budget at the current 0.5% of GDP, therefore protecting the amount of money that is being spent for its original purpose of alleviating poverty abroad. Some countries such as Sweden have set caps on the percentage of the aid budget spent on domestic refugees. The director of Romilly Greenhill, said that the Home Office are treating UK aid as a blank check, effectively reducing it by a third, which is in nobody's interest. Their policies are creating a lose-lose situation, which is bad for refugees, bad for people in low and middle-income countries, and bad for the long-term security and prosperity of the UK. I will end here for today. If this information is of value, you want to subscribe for up-to-date information like this. Thank you.